Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Treeline's second artist virtual dialogue about how do we navigate between art and design. Very pleased to see 18 of us joining online right now. So thank you so much for making time on a Thursday evening to join us and our artists to discuss about this very interesting topic. So my name is Shaliza, your MC for this evening, and I'm Vice President of Marketing and Customer Experience with Urbanland. Urbanland is a homegrown developer creating inspirational spaces for people to live, work, and play in. And we do a variety of projects such as residential, commercial, and hospitality. And I would really love to share with you more about Treeline Urban Resorts, which is our development in Siem Reap that we are very proud of and where we have built a tight-knit artist community, some of whom are with us this evening. So next. So on tonight's agenda, I'll introduce in Treeline and our Treeline Artist Grant Program. So followed by introductions about our speakers before we kickstart tonight's interesting discussion about how our artists navigate between art and design in their cross-disciplinary creative roles. This will be followed by a Q&A session of about 30 minutes. So please share as many questions as you like from now and throughout the webinar, because we would really love this to be as interactive as possible. So we welcome comments. Please type in your questions using the Q&A button in your Zoom window. Okay. So yeah, let me spend about 8 minutes to share with you a little bit about Treeline. So Treeline Urban Resort is located along the bank of Siem Reap River, and it is the first art and design hotel there. Okay, next. Treeline is crafted by our very own homegrown architect, Tyl KAN, and also founder of Urbanland. Okay, next. I would say that Treeline is a relaxing place to be and also an architectural paradise. So it's inspired by the interplay between nature and also local civilization. So alongside the thoughtful design, the elegant interior styling, and also beautiful facilities, Treeline Hotel also houses an impressive private collection of contemporary Cambodian art. We really take art and design very seriously at Treeline and Urbanland. Next. We are deeply interested in the roots of Cambodian art, and which is why we are here tonight to support our artists. And so how can we contribute to building a cultural legacy here in this country? We have over 50 pieces of original Cambodian artwork in our private collection on show throughout the hotel, from emerging as well as acclaimed artists such as Sopanha KHAM and Tyl KAN. So on a rotational basis, our exhibitions has housed works from local artists from all backgrounds, some of them on display at our open air courtyard, which you can see here, a bit of a section, which also serves as our gallery. Okay, there are not so many places where you can walk, relax, and sleep amongst contemporary Cambodian art and design and feel inspired by the surroundings. So what is Treeline's role in the art community? Besides showcasing local art, we play a proactive role to support our Cambodian art community. And this is how the Treeline Artist Grant Program was born. So Cambodia's burgeoning art scene is still new, and there are right now not so many opportunities for young artists to develop their skills. So our goal with the TAG program, TAG stands for Treeline Artist Grant program, is to create opportunities for artists to support their practices and provide resources and space where they can showcase their art to the world. After a rigorous selection of proposals and months of concept development, experimentation, and production, our 6 selected artists from our 2020 Artist Grant Program put together a group exhibition at Treeline Gallery called Invisible Voices last year. We will be able to witness some of their art tonight as well. So this evening, we have 3 of the artists with us, Dalin, Siden, and Tyl, to talk about their journeys in navigating between art and design, which is a very complex matter. So let me introduce you to our talented speakers and moderator. So first up, we have Dalin PRAK, who is an architect and artist. Dalin, would you like to wave?
Yes.
Dalin has experience of working in an architecture firm for 2 years. As an artist and architect, she uses construction material in an interesting way to create sculptures that also appear as architectural structures, which focuses on the impact of city development. Her works are inspired by nature and highlights the process of putting together visual art and the installation. She experiments with different art materials and mediums and focuses on unconventional aspects of the material to portray her unique voice. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, Dalin. All right, next we have Siden KONG, who has dabbled in many creative roles, from being an artist, interior designer, to a gallery assistant. So Siden, would you like to wave? Great, I can see there's a bit of a halo behind your head as well. So yes, his work as an artist focuses on the human experience and the environment while reflecting on feelings of loss, hesitation, and contemplation. So there has an element of depth to his work. He primarily worked with photography before stepping out of his comfort zone to experiment with different mediums for his artwork in the Invisible Voices group exhibition last year at the Treeline Gallery with his series Symbolism, made of flat cut materials, which you can see here. So welcome, Siden. Our next artist is Tyl KAN. She is a creative and specializes in painting, digital illustration, 2D animation, and art direction. Tyl, hello. She is very versatile and expands her creativity across several mediums. She focuses on human emotions, behaviors, nature, identity, and what impacts people's mental well-being. And mental health is a very hot topic and a hot issue right now. Her artwork explores concerns surrounding mental health, and it also raises questions to encourage conversation and social change. So thanks so much for joining us tonight, Tyl. And last but not least, we have our unique and interesting and very talented moderator tonight called Sopanha KHAM, a passionate spatial designer and artist. Sopanha's practice in art focuses on architectural and cultural identity and also its relationship with society. Her works are multidisciplinary and very experimental. So it ranges from workshops, installations, films, collages, and also having lived abroad, her works often question her identity and place of belonging as part of the Cambodian diaspora. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us tonight. I'd like to pass the floor to Sopanha to begin tonight's discussion. So Sopanha, take it away.
Thank you so much, Melita. Good evening, everyone. And today I'll be your moderator. And we'll be talking about navigating between art and design. And as we can see, all of our artists with us tonight have dabbled in both art and design. But I think in order to talk about how to navigate between art and design, we first need to know, what is art and design? So I would like to ask quite a tough first question, I think, for our artists tonight. How do you define art and design within your practices? I guess we'll start with Siden.
Okay, so yes. So to me, art is a special hidden talent that everyone got since they were born. It can be a voice, body gesture, or a form of communication through visual arts, and anything can be art if you have a sense of it. And design is a professional skill or plan of solving a particular problem. It's regardless of a particular dramatic discipline or its deliberate of actions that art mean to provide the value of design. Both design and arts are more than just aesthetics or plan function. It's about giving the meaning and experience it. What about you, Dalin? How do you define art and design within your practice?
Sorry. To me, when I think about the word design, I think it's more about the finishing, and art is precisely focused on the process. If I put it together, to me, I see that design is like a book cover and art is what inside the book. For example, in my architectural field, I first had to find a good cover, which means, try to design a good, beautiful building to match my client need. But there is something I put in my work, which is the use of my emotion and imagination with what we call art. And in short, that's how I see it. Design is something that you spend only a few seconds to read, but art is filled with a lot of emotion, meaning, and expression, and emotionally about an ongoing dialogue. And I so want to hear from Bongtia.
Hi. So yeah, personally, I also think something like you guys. So basically, in my definition, art is a form of communication and expression, basically created to provoke feelings and thoughts, and it's there to sort of like raise questions and describe feelings or emotion that can't find a word for it. But for design, I think that it is more to offer a solution to sort of a visual communication problem when it's being presented. And for example, like the photo that I have here, it's sometimes it's art, it's more of like you can just enjoy it. You don't have to you know, it doesn't have to serve a purpose sometimes, but for design, it has to function and it has to work. So that's my definition in my practice.
No, thank you so much, guys. I guess we'll have a little bit of discussion about your definition. I guess for you guys, you see design as Siden said, as a way of solving things or a way of fixing things in a way, whereas art is a lot more raw. Would that be?
I
Hello.
think there's a little bit slow connection. Can we repeat it again?
Oh, sorry. I don't know what happened there. I guess for me, I just kind of recap what you guys were saying about how design was more about like finding solution or solving things, whereas art, you feel a lot more free. And it's a lot more raw. Was that the conclusion, I guess, for everyone?
Yeah, I think so.
For me, for me, when we design, like we focus on the outcome, but when art, we really don't want to focus on that. We focus on the process, just to let art guide us.
Yeah. Anyone else want to add anything to the definition after listening to everyone's answer, or?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the same for me.
Well, I guess bouncing off of that, do you find that your work process in art and design and the mindset are different when you're working on your pieces or within your practice? Yeah, Tyl.
So yeah, so for me, it's definitely different. When I do art, I usually have like an abstract concept and idea. And then I would find an approach. But when it comes to laying it down to canvas, I sort of let my feelings and emotion and my art kind of guide me. While in art direction, I need to do more preparation. There are more details into like thinking of layout, composition, and many other things. So yeah, I think it's definitely different.
Would you say that that's reflected within the image that you're showing us right now?
Sorry?
would you say that it's reflected in the image that you're showing us right now?
Yeah, so this is a combination between photography and I would say fine art. It's a take of a purity and the honor of the white cloth, where women's worth is being equated to the white cloth. So it's a mini series I did with my friend, and this is a little process where I selected and I sort of like sorted it into categories so I can present it in a way that the audience can understand it the way we intended.
First, I guess jumping off of that for Siden, when you work on design pieces, do you kind of have similar process to Tyl?
For design process, I mostly come up with the concept idea of solving problems or proposal requests from the client first. Then I analyze the ideas, discussing with them. Then I create the prototypes and with a few options for them and model makings. And if the process is finalized, I will be working on the materials and build the real model for them. And for art, can you switch the slide back first? So and for art is usually generated by a set up self-imposed constraints that I come up with a concept idea first that I experience. Then I will research and learn about the concepts and find a way to create it and transform it into a visual works with the material that work well with my concept. And for example, the symbolism, can you switch the slide back? Sorry. To symbolism. Okay. So in this process, I also working on define the meaning of it through my experience with my work. And beside that, I always let everybody give the meaning through their own experience too. And symbolism is the installation of mirror sculpture that created by various of symbols that float in space. The patterns inside of the work were inspired and innovated by a story that show of the act sacrifice, and the acts often happen over and over again throughout our lifetimes. And the symbol of pattern itself will guide the viewers to see something that's more than what you can see.
That's very interesting. So I guess the research for both and design for you was kind of similar, would you say?
It's
What
like
about, you go
like
ahead.
for me, to create those work, both design and artwork, I have to do the research and find the process to create the works. But it's for art, I like working on my own and with my personal experience, and for design and for my client.
That's great. What about you, Dalin, working in architecture? Do you find similar process to Siden?
We have very similar process. Like when I design, I focus on the client on unicorn. But when I make artwork, it's very different. I try to get rid of anything that block my creative freedom. Sometimes I feel like I have to shut down all the voices because I need to be silent. I need to focus on myself, paying attention to my emotion, because I need to create a work that I very connected with. For example, me, my work is made of construction material, and there are people come to me, they recommend that I should consider using different material because steel is heavy and it's dangerous. I agree that they give good advice, but at the end, I can't do that because changing the material is like changing everything, changing my emotion, really changing the context, because I create a world that happened from my inside emotion. So when my emotion couldn't agree with that, it feel like it's not gonna work. And then, I'm gonna say that I need courage and faith while creating artwork, despite difficulty and challenge. Yes, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, well, I guess from what I'm hearing, can we go to the next slide, please? I guess from what I'm hearing, we're just gonna have a little bit of a conversation about this. From what I'm hearing is that you guys find that in art is a lot more emotion based and you feel a lot more free, but in design is a bit more traditional and I guess restricted in a way. Would I be correct to say that it applies to all of you?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So like, I guess, okay, like a bit of a weird question, not weird, but it's a bit, yeah, I guess for you, which one do you prefer in terms of like the process or the mindset?
For me, I think since I come from art background, I tend to lean toward art, but also I've learned to implement like the design aspect of things, and it helps me to be more controlled of my artwork. So yeah.
For me, I do
Yeah.
agree with Tyl said, because I mostly create artwork based on design technique.
Yeah, for me, I'm also the same to Bounty and Siden. Like art give me more freedom than design. That's why I choose it.
So yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess uh do you find what are the struggle for you guys when you're like working on both design and artwork, like your main struggle? Is it the same or do you find that they're different or?
I think my main struggle when it comes to doing art is nailing down the concept. Both art and design, like I'm not doing much of design, right? But when it comes to doing both of it, nailing down the concept is very important for me. And then everything sort of like roll after. Anything before that, if I can't really settle on what I want to do, like the concept, I don't think I can proceed. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. What about you guys in the more architectural and interior design field?
For me, mostly the main thing that is hard for me is to explain my work, because I mostly just immediately do something that I have that I want to do, and my imagination by my imaginations, and then after that I try to like analyze and understand about it after that. So it's a little bit hard for me to explain what I want to do or summarize my ideas after I create my work.
Do you find that harder in art or in design?
It's in arts and design is, yes, it's less harder.
What about you, Dalin?
Yeah, for me, I think it's way harder to, because like in design, I feel like I just need to play safe, just follow the rule and follow the requirement, then you pass. But in art, if I play safe, I will fail to express, fail to be honest, and the artwork won't be able to speak anything.
Yeah, I think art is a little more abstract. All three of us, I feel like we all do something more abstract. So that's a bit hard to describe. And I think that is probably why we struggle more.
Yes, totally agree with that.
Well, that's very interesting because do you find that sometimes if you're doing like a complicated design piece, right, is it still harder to explain your art piece, or would you say, I think like art is a lot harder to explain?
For me, like the design is like I create the design from what I learned, but I learn, but for arts, it's I learn from my work. So it's totally like opposite of that. So that's why it's art is harder.
Is that true for
Yeah.
you guys as well? Yeah.
I believe that design is more obvious. It's like you create it with an intent, and the intent is for audience to see it the way you want it to, the way you want to present. So it's not really open to interpretation like art. So yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that totally makes sense. I feel the same because I think design is a lot more because you're in a way you're trying to convey a message in design as well, but with art I think it's a lot more thought-provoking. So I think, you know, it's almost like anyone can have opinion on it, whereas in design your solution is pretty clear and whatever people have opinion on is not as, let's say, controversial as art pieces. Yeah. Like, I guess, sorry, Dalin, did you want to say something?
Yeah, of course, like what I mentioned about art is an ongoing dialogue, you know, it's like it's no boundaries. It's like something that I need to learn. It's always open, it's not complete like what in design, you know.
I guess just the last question before we take a poll and a small break. Do you find that when you're working, do you find that like you have two different mindsets, like for art and design, like it's like two separate things, or do you see them both as the same thing?
I see it very relative, but also the way I apply it is different as well. Like I mentioned earlier, the process with my art, I tend to use more of my emotion and gut feelings and those stuff. But when it comes to my art direction side of things, I have a lot more preparation, and I have to make sure that the visual that I intended basically communicate like the right message to the audience, like the way I wanted them to see. Yeah.
Or what about you, Siden?
I totally agree with Dale, since when I create art, I mostly experience with it, and even with material, with the ideas of it, and like try again and again. Like I'm happy to experience with it. But for the design, mostly I have like the plan, the concept, the idea is already prepared, and even making the process to from digital to a real model is also like have everything construct and I don't know what to say, like in detail, and everything must be guaranteed to create it in a real model.
Do you feel the same then about it being a lot more laid out, I guess, in design?
Yeah, for me, I think, I think art and design is very different based on my experience. You know, I like nowadays I have an art community, and I have been with my artistic friend like design community, and yes, two groups of people really have different opinion, different mindset, and they show me how different that is, but but I try to stay in that two community.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
great.
also have like many designers friend,
Yes.
and yeah, their mindset is definitely different, more collected, more planned. So yeah, the way I see it, it's
And
like, yeah.
A bit more traditional.
yes, but they always have solution for everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
This good
yeah.
at finding solution.
yeah.
Hey, artists find solution too, just more
Yes, yes, it
complicated
is.
issue.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
All right. I guess I'll pass the mic to Sharissa, who will introduce the poll.
Sure. So thank you so much, guys. That was a very interesting conversation. My takeaway is that yes, art is indeed more abstract and meant to be thought-provoking, and design is more solution-driven. So on that note, I would like to invite all of you, our attendees, to take our short poll. So I will take a 5-minute comfort break as well. And in the meantime, we'll run this poll to share with us your creative habits, and we'll give everyone a few minutes to take the poll. And in the meantime, please enjoy this video of Treeline while we take a short break. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. Thank you. All right, everyone, take your time coming back. We've got the poll results in and very interesting. So our question about how do you find inspiration for your creative work? So our attendees chose these two are tied. So at 70%, it is travel or go out in nature and explore what other creatives are doing. And it really ties into, connecting to nature. It's very important to nourish our soul, going into a nature, and also about relationships. So about exploring what other creatives are doing. So being inspired by our fellow people and fellow artists around us. And around the second question, what type of activities do you wish to see more of in the creative community? You guys like exhibitions, skill sharing workshops, and knowledge sharing webinars. So very interesting. So thank you so much for your feedback, guys. I think we'll be able to start, right, Sopanha?
All right, let's jump back in. I hope you guys are ready. So just from the poll, we see that, art and being creative is very much a part of everyone's life. Can we go to the next slide, please? So I guess we all know art and design play a huge role in society. And I know all of our artists here with us today are very much interested in social issues and human emotion and nature. So I'm curious as to how do you see art and design role play within society, and what are their impacts? Let's start with Tyl, because I know your work really dabble in, social issues. Oh, sorry. Yeah, let me just introduce your work a little bit. So I know your work is good. I know your work's very focused on mental well-being, and with your work discussing a lot of mental vulnerability, such as depression, self-harm, and body insecurity. How do you feel working on a somewhat social taboo topic in Cambodian society, and why do you think it's important to discuss it within the art space?
Yeah, thank you. So I think it's definitely very risky to work on something considered taboo, especially in this conservative society. But it takes some courage and the right research, the right preparation, the right people, and also the right approach to the topic. So yeah, to sort of like soften the topic and the subject so that the general audience and also the people who are struggling can process the artwork in a way that is not so triggering. And I think these taboo topic should basically, there should be more discussion about this. And in doing so, I just hope to sort of like open a discussion and create a voice for people who are struggling and going through these matters, to not feel so alone. So yeah, the way I approach it is also, I try to start subtly, because I believe that I believe to, sort of like test the water first, because it's very sensitive. So I'd rather approach it passively and subtle, and then build intensity later as we go. Yeah.
Yeah, could you tell us a little bit about the series called Figures?
Yeah,
that we're just seeing right now.
Yeah, so this is a photo exhibition that is a collab between me and my photographer friend Sana, and we work with different type of bodies, both male and female. We sort of want to highlight like their imperfections, because I believe that human body is different, and that should be okay. There shouldn't be like a certain ideal or anything. There's like your body is your temple. So we're born with a different shape, different physique. I think that's to highlight them in an art form, in a pose like a statue or like a classical painting. I feel like it's a nice way to highlight and to highlight the beauty, basically. So yeah,
totally. Yeah,
and
no,
it's also the
totally.
first time I work with photography as my medium as well. It was back in 2019.
That's really cool. Yeah, because I think for me, I think body insecurity is such a huge thing in Khmer culture. So I think it's a really great piece of artwork to showcase a lot of diversity that exists within really as a series. I guess jumping off of that, thank you. Jumping off of that, I know Siden's work also has a series where he uses his body. Like your work is very much about human longing and emotion with material quality and spatial quality. And in this case, in your series Broken Pieces, you're using your own body as negative space to showcase, you know, like a spatial quality. How do you see these artwork play within society, and what social impact do you think they have, Siden? Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, I forgot about that. So within my work, I believe it could be invoke people, especially youths, to transfigure their visions, inspire them to pay more attention to the current issues that happens every day, which is possibly affects the further futures and the next generation. Like Broken Pieces is a serious portraits that I experiment with my body, challenging with artificial lights. As it seems like uh, an unfinished or fractured sculptures that suffering. With that visual, I wanted to express the sadness and the awareness of the losing heritage sculptures that have been suffering for decades from the tragedies of human and nature. Next slide, please. Yes, and for symbolism, like I mentioned, I want the viewers to taking a moment to observe the pattern inside the work, separate one symbols and fantasize about it in the acts of sacrifice moment in any situation that they have been experienced in life. It's like my work were giving you the moment to overthink and reflections in your lifetime experience about this act.
Do you think you could have achieved the same kind of feeling within your design practices?
Pardon, like,
No.
can you repeat the question again?
Do you think that these emotions that you are expressing within your artworks, do you think it's possible to do it in your design field?
I don't think so because
No.
yes, because within my design work, I mostly like create or plan design projects to solve or complete the needs of the clients to make sure that they are satisfied and love it. And I believe for me, my design will have solve their problems and their needs and maybe possibly make their life a better living.
All right.
So it's
I
totally
guess,
different. Yes.
yeah. So I guess your artwork is a lot more for yourself, and then your design work is for your clients.
Yes. Yes.
Well, jumping off of that and talking about design, Dalin, I know you also use a lot of material quality with your work. You're really well, I guess you're really in between architecture and art because you use a lot of construction material for your art pieces. to reflect on, you know, city development and things like that, as well as your installation itself. It's almost like an architectural piece. So I guess same question I've asked the rest. What social impact do you think your work have on society?
Yeah, for me, you know, I didn't speak a lot for myself. I don't know if my work will create any impact or anything. I While creating artwork, I just like want to be free, and I have a strong focus, and it's my excitement on, you know, how try to create a world that could speak. And I guess if my work could speak, it could give an impact in some way, you know, to someone that my work can speak to. And there's one more thing. I used to be an architect who barely know anything about art, and during in university, I focused a lot on technical and architectural drawing, and I miss one important thing, which is the emotion in architecture. And you know, I hope that I can show my architect friend that emotion is very important in humanity and in our field. Like, for example, I try to transform architect structure into artwork because I want to invoke or provoke emotion in it. And the goal behind my practice is that I want to create emotion or generate meaning from the material and the form in my architecture projects. Yes.
And I guess this is a question for everyone as well. So if you guys would like to jump in anytime, like, do you feel that your pieces could be translated into let's say an architectural building? Like I guess in a more design field.
Sorry, I
sorry.
I pay attention to the slide.
Yeah. Like, do you think that you can take your piece and then kind of translate it or redo it within your architectural field?
Yeah, that's what I try to practice every day. You know, sometimes I looking in artwork, my structure of artwork, and I want to transform that into architectural space. I had tried with one project, but sorry, I forgot to show that in slide.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's one more thing, you know, when I design something, I try to tell myself that I'm not designing it, I'm also creating a sculpture, you know. I try to give myself that kind of free, the feeling that I use in art, you know, to apply in architecture.
And then a question I had for Tyl, and then I forgot to ask back then. I guess, do you think that you could have done more social impact? Well, not more social, but like, do you think your message would have come across as strongly in design rather than in an art space?
It all depends on the concept and the idea that I want to present. So in terms of, let's say, figure, it's definitely a mix of both, because it's the intention is to highlight beauty of the imperfection, and we did just that. But when it comes to the exhibition I did at Treeline or my previous ones, the idea is more abstract. So the interaction and the interpretation is also different, which I think is better to do in the art space.
That's really awesome. I guess I have a question about Siden too, because I think you're the one who differentiate between art and design the most within your art piece. Would you agree with that, or do you think I'm separating them too much?
Scanner, sorry, I cannot hear clearly.
Okay.
Sorry.
I think your work kind of differentiate between art and design the most, although I think you use quality of like design pieces, but it seems like you differentiate them the most, and you definitely think that art space have more social impact. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah. I guess why do you think so? Like, do you, I guess, yeah. Why do you feel that the art have more social impact on society than design for you?
Because like for art, it's like you can speak or say whatever that really affected to you or to other that you think. And for design, it's just like you find a solution or something that make people convenient with the design.
Mm,
Most likely, yes.
yeah. I guess I can, like, bouncing off of that, talking about art and design. Do you guys feel like a balance is needed between art and design? And if so, how do you currently balance yourself? Let's start with Tyl, because I guess you're the most in between.
Hi. Yeah, I am definitely juggling a lot. Anyway, yeah, I do believe in the balance between both art and design. So for me, I feel like the two has such an intimate relationship. And for it to kind of coexist together, it only help elevate your craft better. Because before, my background is from art. And then like recently, I learned a lot more from my designer friends and also my photographer friends. And it definitely helped influence the way I see my art and the way I implement my basically the design side of things onto my art, and my art also influence you know, my art direction stuff. And it definitely elevate my craft to the next level, and I believe that is what you need to evolve as artists.
That's really awesome. Do you feel the same way, Siden, about, you know, kind of learning from both sides, as Tyl mentioned?
Yes, for me, like I do believe that a balance between art. Can you like move to the next slide, please? Sorry, the previous one. Okay. For me, I do believe a balance between art and design is needed because I always think them both are walking on the same path. Because design must in some way think like an artist, and they must logically apply on their imaginative ideas on their works too. And artists must be the same as design. They must have a plan to plan out their imaginations to bringing out their work into the real world. And art and design both require immense creativities an actual sense of aesthetics and style, emotional intelligence, and the ability to tell a story through their media.
Thank you. What about you, Dalin? How do you feel about the balance between art and design?
For me, I think the balance between art and design is very needed because to my story, you know, actually my work and I was just like a P or design before. So I came to practice making artwork because I need that balance. And in the process, art and design, I feel like they are speaking different languages. And if I want to make them both understand each other or stay together in my projects, I had to understand them both so well in order to do that. And I keep practicing a lot. I keep reading art and architecture book. I engage myself in the art community and architectural field. And you know, I feel like like what I said about, I feel like I had to live in a two different world, and I don't think that I balance it. I think sometimes the art and design, they try to balance me. For example, in the design field, when I feel hard to express, like forget what I want to do, I came here practice creating artwork, and in the process of creating artwork, I work a lot with my emotion, myself, so it help bring balance to me. And yeah, and I take what I learn in art and then apply it in architecture. Sometimes I balance it, and sometimes they balance me.
Yeah, that is definitely a
Yeah.
challenge.
Yes.
So I guess we can talk a little bit about this more. Uh, I guess as that Lynn mentioned, she's very much, always reading books and trying to understand about design and art more. Are you guys the same, Tyl and Siden?
Yeah, I agree. For
We
me,
agree
not so
about
much
that.
reading, but I definitely take inspiration from like other photographer, other artists, and sometimes it's simply the conversation I have with my friends and family, and my personal observation, and yeah, that's for me.
And for
Yeah.
me, I'm mostly not reading much, but I like focus on research on something that I want to know in design and arts, and go to the exhibition, see the real space, and have a conversation with artists, or going to the design fields and have a conversation or discussion with the designers directly.
Yeah, I
guess
think
I
it's the same for me.
because I know you all have like day jobs, right? Mainly as designers. Am I correct? Yeah.
I mainly do like photography stuff.
Yeah, sorry to, well, I
And
guess
also,
how do you like keep being creative? Well, I mean, like, okay, your day job is creative, but I guess a different kind of creative for art. Like, what keeps you inspired and keeps you going?
for me, it's film. I like both visually stimulating films, but also really good plot. And me and my friend, we love to explore those, very niche genre. And it definitely inspired us a lot in both art and photography. And yeah, also music. It plays a lot.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Dalin?
May I architecture and art is like my world, and people, when I came here being an artist, my friend was like, are you want to be a full-length artist and not being an architecture anymore? And, and in the opposite, I came here creating artwork only because I want to improve my architecture. Yeah.
That's
That's
cool.
a very interesting approach. Yeah. And what about you, Sidan? How do you feel? Are you the same? Are you also in art to improve your interior design, or?
For me, arts and design is they improve each others, and I do agree with Dils that watching film, music that keep creatives more creative.
But like, do you guys feel like burnt out sometimes, like being in between, and it's a lot of like, creativity, a lot of, I guess, brain juice on
Yeah,
creativity?
Yes,
I definitely have gone through burnout. There's been time when I didn't draw for like, I don't know, for months or almost a year at time. And yeah, it definitely affect my mental health because I was doing too many freelance jobs. And now I'm sort of like putting it to a stop and focusing on my master degree. And slowly, just recently, sort of like accepting the job back. Yeah, kind of tap back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think burnt out is hard. Like, what
Yeah,
about
you need
you?
to sort of like find a way to balance your work life. Yeah, help.
Yeah, no, for sure. How do you guys feel, Dalin and Sidan? Do you also experience burnt out within your field, or are you like, no, this is what I love and everything is great?
So it's like for me, yes, I often got burned out both in design and art, but I don't know. This is what I want. This is what I love. So it's totally fine to get burned out sometimes.
Yeah, the same
Yeah.
to me, you know, it's by the hardship at the end, we feel exciting for what we do and we still love and we have strong motivation. Right.
So just to quickly conclude this, so we do believe in the balance between art and design, and we do feel that art is a lot more free, it's a lot more raw, and you are able to express your emotion more, whereas in design is a lot more about solving and attending to clients' needs or attending to another person's need. Do you guys want to add anything before we open the Q&A? Just any last message or anything like that?
I would like to add on the social impact side of things. For me, I believe that both art and design definitely have social impact, but in a very different way. Because for art, it's sort of like being presented and it's open to interpretation and created to sort of like help people not feeling too alone. While for design, it is there to serve a purpose. So in a way, it does impact on the society, but just in different context. Yeah.
I totally agree. Do you guys have anything to add, Dalin or Sinan?
Yeah.
No worries if you don't. No pressure.
Yeah, I totally agree with both here, you know. Like it both could catch the power to create an impact, or you know, we could change one community in a different way.
So like, yeah, I mean, I think both sides definitely need to learn from the others and benefit from each other, and that's why I think it's really important to have both designers and artists such as yourself to navigate within the space to kind of pathway for future design or artwork. So I think it's really great. All right, I guess we're opening the floor for Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, please press on the Q&A buttons and yeah, we can answer any of your questions. I'll just give you guys a few minutes, maybe one or 2 minutes. Please don't be shy.
I think there's already a 4 question in here.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, let's do this one. So how do you explain your artist job to your family?
Sorry.
How do you explain your style, like your artist job to your family, being that art is not as profound in Khmer culture?
It's a lot of being stubborn. For me, it's definitely my family is not as happy in the beginning, but I guess you have to just do it and prove them that you can do what you do and you can do it well. And yeah, over time they sort of like accept that, hey, this is a part of you. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I have no explanation because my family don't know what I'm doing.
Oh. Oh, no.
I have explained my sister, I try to tell her what art is, and I know she pretend like she understand, of course she didn't. But but when I have succeed, when I have exhibition, I show it to them, even though they don't understand, but they try to show that they support me. Yes.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And for me, same as Dalin, like I don't know how to explain my art practice to them because most likely my work is like photography and sculpture, so they didn't know that this is arts, but I'm a little bit sensitive about it, and then I explain them step by step, and then after I got an exhibition, I showed them some proof that I'm doing good, so they appreciate it.
Oh, that's great.
Even they didn't understand about that much.
Yeah,
Yes.
same.
Yeah, I think
They
it's a lot
definitely
of.
don't.
Yeah, I mean it's the same for me. So totally understand. I guess just a very random question from me, but do you think that if you were to go full-time artist, they would have approved eventually?
Yeah,
Mm.
they already did.
Oh,
with
that's awesome.
me. But also that's also why I got burned out. Because when you like art and then it becomes your job, it's there's another stress aspect to it that people don't normally talk about. They usually like to say, oh, if you do what you like, it's like you're not doing any work at all because like you enjoy it so much, but that's not really the case. And oftentimes you get burned out a lot. Yeah. And then at one point I kind of stopped accepting jobs because I started to lose passion, drawing and everything. Like I just find it hard to motivate myself and to create. So by kind of stopping for a while, it helped me finding my ground and kind of find my motivation and inspiration back. Yeah.
That's very interesting. Is it the same for you guys, Dalin and Treeline?
Yeah, for me, I am a freelance art teacher and also an artist, so I think I'm okay with that. I can make money by being an art teacher. So, and also even though my family don't understand what I'm doing, I think it's very normal. I can't force that. Yeah. And as long as that I like to show them the outcome more than the process. Then
For me, I don't know, they be able to approve it or not, but I just I'm a person that people cannot disagree about what I want to do. So
Same.
So I don't know, like if I want to do that, I will do that. If I want to do this, I will do this. Like I always have my own reason to explain them, so they have no right to reject or disapprove me.
That's fair too, I think. I mean, you know, to be an artist, you have to be strong-headed sometimes, you know?
Yes, totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next question. What advice do you have for someone who is from design but want to explore more about the art world?
Just do it.
Yes, just do
Like,
it. See what you want to see and learn
yeah.
what you want to learn. Almost
Yeah,
like
I
layer.
It's all
think
about trial and
yeah.
error too
Yes, yes.
in art. You don't really have like to restrict yourself or anything. If
Thinking
you
or
want to
maybe
do
just
something, try it.
not
Yeah,
overthinking about it too much. Just do it.
Yeah.
for me, I have
Have fun.
3 words. One is be free, second is have faith, and 3 is have courage.
That's so cool.
I guess
I
what how should they start? I guess, you know, just do it is very broad. Where
It
do you
is.
think is a good starting point?
Just
I
know,
think
just know
first,
yourself first. I think, like know what you
mhm.
want to do in arts and working on it and going in art community to see others, so you will know how to start. I guess.
Yeah. I think, yeah, like Sidan said, just identify what you want to do in art. Let's say you want to do digital illustration, or do you want to paint, or do you want to anything? So start from that. And then all I can say is practice, because
yes.
it takes a long time to sort of like find yourself even within the art field later on. So yeah, take your time, trial and error, and practice, be patient, but also, you know, don't compare yourself, your progress and other people's progress. You can't compare, you know, you just starting out with someone who has been in the field for like 10 years. So yeah, that's all I
Yeah,
have.
for
Okay.
me, from what Rongtia said, I agree that, and I want to emphasize that when you do it, do not focus on the outcome. You know, try to stay focused on the moment, on the process, because you will learn from it in the now. You know, not the outcome.
Yeah,
I
true.
just like experimenting a bit, like just do that, and don't expect too much on the outcome. Like what am I doing right now in arts? Like I don't care what the outcomes could be, but I'm happy with the possibility that I can experience with the work.
Yes.
So who let's do another question. Who inspire you, or what is your inspiration? I guess your main inspiration.
For me right now, like I said earlier, it's films, but also my artist friends, my my people who help me with this right now. And
Do you
also
want to
like
name a few?
yeah, shout out to Minh Hat, Jamie, Lisa, Mongsana, Snake, and many more. Yeah, they inspired me a lot, and we sort of bounce ideas and learn from each other and challenge each other, and that's how we sort of like grow together. Yeah.
No. What about you, Dalin?
Okay. For me, the first inspiration that I got that when I saw a foreign architect, a famous architect, and he come back create a sculpture, and it was so strange to me, and I want to know, it's very interesting to me. And then he showed me that I, an architect, should come to art community to know what they did, to open myself to another experience, another knowledge. And then when I came, study in contemporary art class at So Art, I got surprised by the students around me. They very open to themselves. They very express. It very different from the community that I was before.
That's very interesting. What
Um,
about you,
for,
Sidan? What?
for me, when I maybe in first year in my interior design, I find myself that I interested in photograph, but I don't know, is it art or just a professional skill for work, I guess, for photographers. But after I joined the photography class in EFC, Institute, so I know that the ability to create of just not just a photo but an artwork. Then I start getting inspired from the photographers, artists first. But like I was inspirations from like many old artists that are in our 1960, I guess, and just start from there.
Oh wow.
So it's for me, like it's randomly. It's not I get inspired from who specific.
That's really interesting. Like yeah. Let's go to this other question that I find really interesting as well. So the question is, if your art piece is not well received by a certain individual, that would just say or comment that your art is nonsense or useless, how would you react to this kind of scenario?
I think you have to have confidence in your artwork, enough confidence that to realize that that is not constructive criticism, or if it is one. So yeah, I think that's really important when you do art.
For me, for example, in my architectural field, we have met a lot of clients that they don't understand what we do, and most architects, even me, we give up sometimes, when we cannot make them understand, we did give up. But I just want to say that whatever it is, we need to try, try all of it, try to explain, try to show them before we give up.
For me, I don't think I have a way to speak back with that people, because sometimes they just say they just say what they want to say, and it's sometimes nonsense to me, because I know my work, I create it with my heart, so I know the volume of it. So I totally didn't care about what they say. That mentioned it's nonsense. Maybe it's nonsense for them because they didn't even look it through their mind or their mental or their heart or feelings with it, and that's okay for them, I guess.
Yeah,
well, I guess
I agree.
Yeah, I guess art in nature. Yeah, sorry, Dalin, you go ahead.
Okay, I just want to add a little bit, like in art community that I've been today is very easy. They always feel free to express, they open for me. But design world is very like a contract world, and most architects really suffer from that.
Well, I guess I guess art or design at the end of the day is subjective, so it's always hard to please everyone. So long as you feel like your message is across, I guess that's kind of what everyone is saying.
Yeah, which is why I mentioned that if you're confident enough in your artwork, you will realize what is, just nonsense and what is constructive criticism, which is much needed, obviously, for us to improve our art. But yeah, there's bound to be some people who, doesn't like what we do.
Yes.
For sure.
If they want to critique us in a good way, they will find like some weak point for us to support or to implement our works to more better than that, not just say something that nonsense or not appreciated.
Yeah, for me, in art field, I really have no problem with that. I feel like in my exhibition, I feel like the stage is mine. And in the process, I only focus on my work only. I focus on my work because I want to people see the world that I see, not the world that they see,
For sure. All right, let's do one last question before we finish off. How do you deal with sorry, maybe I cut off. How do you deal with tricky clients?
I have said before already.
For me, if I have a sense that they are tricky, I just finish it. I don't work with them. I don't want to deal with their reason or excuses, so just don't work with them. Just cancel everything.
I think over time, for me, I kind of build a sort of boundary and some rules. But yeah, you can't really avoid them. So yeah, sometimes if it gets really difficult, all you have to do is know when to quit, when to drop, and when it's time to reject.
Yes,
no matter how well paid it is.
Yeah, it's the same for me too. I try to stay away from someone that I know that it will be so hard to work with. And then, but when it's too late, you don't know. But when you work with them, you know that that is very hard to work with. And then I try to find solution, like what come back to the question number one, like I try to put the emotion, the meaning in my work, even though the client couldn't read it or couldn't feel it, but I try to put it in there, even though they don't know, because it's also my work. I feel like that.
I think, a lot of artists have so much pride in their craft, but sometimes if the client is quite tricky and you don't want to drop the project, personally, I just try to do whatever it takes to sort of like finish the project for them. But yeah, that's all I can do, because trying to implement other creative ideas into it won't really change anything either. Yeah.
Just really one last question. How can art influence design?
That's very tricky to answer.
For me, I'm going to give example. The definition of architecture is 50% of art and 50% of science. And I think they had to be stay together to say to your question, like it had to balance each other.
For me, I think arts influence in designs in yes, I guess in 1960 or more than that, because those things always like working together. Even the design piece was inspired by this artist or this artwork. So I think it's already there. It's been, I don't know what to say. It's been a thousand years that arts influence designs, and the way that art influence inspires by a lot of things, like even the color, the meaning of that color, the meaning of the shape, the meaning of the textures. Arts also are inspired from art, painting or sculpture.
Yeah, I think they have such a intimate relationship, those two. So they always coexist. But yeah, art, like Sidan mentioned, always been influence design. Mainly it's the aesthetics aspect of it. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Totally. I guess we'll just end off here. Sorry, Roletta, we don't have time to answer your question, but thank you for submitting your question. And I guess to end this, thank you so much for this lovely talk with all the artists and everyone. And I will like to Shirley to end this.
Sure. So thank you so much, Sopanha. And thank you everyone for tuning in this evening for this enlightening and illuminating conversation. And thank you so much to Sopanha, Tyl, Dalin, and Siden. It's so inspiring to hear from young and talented artists like you. So let's keep the Cambodia art spirit and culture alive. So please take a few minutes to share some feedback about this virtual talk organized by Treeline, and take care, everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye,
Good
everyone.
night. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.